Hey guys, guess what? Yup, another drawing! Like I promised in the last video. And take a guess at what this is. The Chandrila StarLines Hypo. And this is how I envision it would work. It would be similar in function to what you get on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, where it's like, shaped like those earring piercing guns, but a little bit bigger. But it's about the size of the Star Trek TNG ones, that Dr. Crusher used. Think of that size. And to translate and explain all this, like here you got the vial of the medication, and the medicine in there, and this basically says Perogen 34 cc's in Arabic. It says Perogen for 34 cc's. That's what this reads. And this down here says medical, because it's meant for, let's say Chandrila StarLines had a medical branch, and it was called CSLM, Chandrila StarLines Medical, or Chandrila Medline or Healthline. I'll do a concept on that in another video for another time. But here you go, you got the hypo, and how this would work is it would be like similar to the one in Strange New Worlds, where it's the handle's right here and it's like this, medicine's back here, and the nozzle's at the front. This part would be pressed on the skin, and while holding it there, the Chandrila sickbay technician attendee, whoever's in sickbay at the respective time, would press this button. So it would be, doing the motion like, here's the patient's skin, here's the injector on it, and it would be kind of pressed like that, and it would do a little, thing to say injection complete or in progress, and that's what these are for. This green one, is to signify injection complete. Like you can take it, you can release now, you're done giving a shot. And this yellow one is signifying IDing the medication, like it's identifying that it's Perogen and that the dosage amount is 34 cc's of dosage. So that's what this is saying. Perogen. Perogen. 34 cc's. There it is. And again, that says Chandrila StarLines Medical. And this is basically my rendition of the Chandrila StarLines sickbay Hypospray. Sorry, I just ate something. And plus, something's up with my throat, don't know what. But probably a lot of talking, that's just like a guess. Or weakened lungs. Because duh. Yeah. But anyway, this is the Chandrila StarLines Hypo, and I hope you guys kind of like it. Now, the way the injection would work is it would be similar to what Star Trek does with, the spraying into the skin of the pores of the skin. Like you find a part, like say right here, you take the injector, this part, and you put it like wherever the doctor wants to put it, either here or here, but sometimes it seems to be mostly the neck too in Star Wars apparently, but it's needles, not hypos. But that same trick would still apply. So the medical droid could take the hypo. So the medical droid would grab this hypo, load in the medicine, like for example Perogen, program it to 34 cc's or higher. Because if somebody has Clonot syndrome, you would want the doses to be high, because they're in a crap ton of pain with Clonots. But yeah, but the 34 cc's is just an example, a dosage example, and the medical droid would could push the hypo nozzle this up against the patient's neck or right here, and waiting for the patient's cue of readiness. And if the patient says, "Okay, I'm ready," the medical droid could just press. The medical droid would then press this button. It would be like this, and the medical droid would press it like that, and this is like, being Star Wars, being technologically advanced, especially Chandrila StarLines, they have a trainer's saber, for crying out loud, that you can take home. You can purchase that thing. You can purchase that thing too, the Chandrila trainer's saber. Which that's pretty cool. I saw videos on it, so that's how I know. But this is just a concept. I think Chandrila, he wanted comfort, luxury, stress-free. Chandrila StarLines, they're all about stress-free voyages, right? And when someone's ill in a sick bay, or they're in pain, Chandrila StarLines' sickbay would be stress reducing. If they could have calming tunes over the PA. While the medical droid is taking his scanner and, scanning the patient, externally. I think Star Wars has something of a tricorder already, but it's built within the medical droid. Like, the medical droid has a built-in medical tricorder-ish, like, scanner that's tricorder-esque, because it reads out a lot. It reads M count. Probably not M count. I never seen a medical droid scan for that, but the Jedi's traditional way of, testing for M count is poking the finger. But I will do another drawing of something that I think the Jedi should have been using that's pain-free, a pain-free way to check midichlorian count, but alongside, it could also detect midichlorian, cellular health, like how healthy is this soon-to-be Padawan I'm taking in, stuff like that. And back to the hypo now, and this is what it would be kind of like. Now, it would be sized about the same size as the Strange New Worlds hypo. If you've seen Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which that's holy crap, that's cool. But this, would be more in line with Star Wars. The medical droid would just press it up against the right here, the neck, or wherever the droid wants to inject. And when the patient's ready, press the button or count the patient down. Like, hey, I'm going to give you some Perigen or some of this, some of that. Ready? 1, 2. Yeah. And it wouldn't hurt as much. Because when I was watching the Clone Wars, there's lots of injections on the neck. Star Trek much Clone Wars with the injection site, because it's always like when there's a scene where a clone is having chip removal surgery in the sick bay, and the medical droid takes a needle. Yeah, don't worry, this won't hurt a bit. Went the clone. Of course it's gonna hurt. It's a needle. That was not a hypospray. So I think this would be a better idea, or something. Let's say Surgivore thought of a way to make, healing even more stress-free, like from scanning biobeds that scan you, as I shown in my sickbay, Halcyon sickbay video. And, he imagine if Chandrila StarLines implemented this. Let's say this was invented by one of the higher-ups of Chandrila StarLines, and they were like, hey, rather than pricking them, let's try this way. It's called a hypo. And, this is how I think it would work. And this is basically, my rendition of the Chandrila StarLines Hypo. In fact, there's the injection opening right there. And like, this is my rendition of the Halcyon Star Cruiser sickbay. Sickbay's hypo. Like, the vial would load into the back here. The vial would have to have like an opening though, so it can be loaded into the injection, compartment and geared up for injection, and it then activates injection mode, and this would shine green. First, this would shine red, indicating don't inject. First, this green part would indicate red when you first load in. It would indicate red, to indicate wait, don't inject yet. And this would be flashing yellow in a scanning, analyzing type of mode, where it's analyzing, okay, what is this? Oh, it's Perigen. Loading medication now. And of course there would be a secret button on the side. On the other side, this is just one side, on the other side, in the medical directory program, Perigen 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever the heck, CCs. And it would show in the viewer here, this small viewer, and it would indicate in Arabic, Perigen 34, 37, 42, blah blah, CCs, and as you can see here, the example here is Perigen 34 cc's, and it would, and the flashing yellow, once it detects that, it would stop flashing and be still, and it would beep a little tone indicating okay, ready to inject. And then by that point, this would shine from red to green, indicating yes, it's safe to inject now. And the medical droid would do whatever it needs to do to prep the patient for it, because the patient would be probably nervous or timid or is that gonna hurt, type of thoughts. And the Chandrila StarLines and a Sharja could be here, utilizing the force until the hypo is on the neck. Then the medical droid would say something like, Sharja, release all my signal, and the medical droid would inject the dose of Perigen, and the Sharja would release her power, because the medicine's in it. All that was waiting for was now for it to take effect. And there would be, I would do an extraction version of this too. It'll be the same way, only difference is a small, tiny needle would pop out, prick, and it would retract. And it would siphon into a vial on the back. But that's not what this is, although it would be the same shape, in my envisioning. But the nozzle would be different, obviously. Not like this. But anyway, this is my Chandrila StarLines Hypo, and I want to show you guys what it would probably sound like, and this is what I think the Chandrila StarLines. Actually, I'll just show it. But anyway, but I'll show what the Chandrila StarLines Hypo would sound like. Actually, let's see if I have it. I got it saved somewhere. I might not edit this video because it might morph to very long, and I don't want my editor to go wazzle on the CPU because it's making that noise right now. Now, I've made a video, a sample one, of what I think the Chandrila Halcyon Hypo would sound like. Get ready for it. Now this, let me turn you all up here. Now I'm gonna now this is the Hypo, and here's what I think the Chandrila Hypo would sound like. Let me turn you all up. Don't know what I went up to, but please don't be blaring. But here's the Chandrila StarLines, what the injection would sound like. There you go. That's what I made myself, and that's what I think the injection would kind of sound like. Because it's pressurized, so it's gonna do a little bit of that. And that's what I think it would sound like. Again, the sound of the Chandrila StarLines Hypo. That's what I think it would sound like. So the med droid will press it up against the patient and like that. Yeah. So that's my rendition of the Chandrila StarLines Hypo, and I pray you guys like it. And I know this is a long video, but I just wanted to teach how this would kind of work as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.